What's up, everyone? Back for another beer review, and today is day 4 of all Imperial Beer Theme Month here on the channel. And the beer I'm reviewing today, once again, comes from the Samuel Smith Old Brewery, and they are out of Tadcaster, North Yorkshire, England, over in the UK, and this is their Yorkshire Stingo. So this is an English strong ale that is barrel aged in oak ale casks. It comes in at 8% alcohol by volume. No IBUs listed in time of review. And this bottle is just under 7 months old, and it also has a best by date of June 10th of 2027. So I believe they give a 3-year best by date because this was bottled on June 10th of 2024. So full disclosure, I've had this one numerous times before. It's been a while, probably 2016-17 range is last time I had this one. And that's because for many years here in the Buffalo, New York area, this one has dried up. I've not seen this one in many years. However, back in the late summer of 2024, I was in East Aurora, New York at Aurora Brew Works, fantastic bottle shop there. And they had bottles of this, and it was the new release. At that point, it was like, what, 2.5, maybe 3 months old. So I was like, all right, I got to grab a bottle of it. And I thought it would made perfect sense to review this as like an English beer or a international beer for the theme month this month, January 2025. And I'm here for it. They have a little spiel on the back that I will read because it kind of talks about what this beer essentially is. It says, Yorkshire Stingo tastes of dark fruit, toffee, and Christmas pudding with a subtle oaky finish. This bottle conditioned ale is matured in oak ale casks, some over a century old and continuously maintained by the old brewery's own coopers. These casks, constantly circulating through the brewery's own English pubs, soak in the character of Samuel Smith's traditional stone fermented ales. As Yorkshire Stingo is aged, the cask imparts attributes that influence this ale's unique and robust flavor profile. Allow time for yeast to settle before opening and then pour gently. So yeah, I mean, I've always enjoyed this one. My favorite beer from Samuel Smith, probably after their organic chocolate stout. But maybe this is better. I don't know. I haven't had this in a while, so I couldn't tell you, but I am definitely here for it. I am super stoked. They have, the gold foil. It's just fantastic. So I'm using my Bellwoods Bring Out Your Dead glass because I always say this when I use this. I don't use this glass enough, and I don't, and I love it. So we're going to use it today. So we'll give it a nice pour here. Something like that. Let me get my nose in there if I can. Oh my God. Just, whew. All right. Let me show you what this looks like from your side so you can see. But that looks beautiful. That kind of looks like, like a barley wine light or something. It definitely has that like strong ale, whether it's an English or American, has that like deep kind of like orange amber color. Almost looks like Jurassic Park where the mosquitoes are in the amber or in the sap. It has a finger, or I guess a half a finger at this point, it was a full finger, of this light, like khaki, light tan colored head. Looked really creamy. I can probably muscle up maybe a full finger. We'll see here. Almost like 3/4. It does have a little bit of murk in there, but it is for the most part pretty clear. You probably won't see my hand through it, if so, very faintly, but you should be able to see. You should be able to see my hand, but not make it out. Like the clarity isn't great, but it's pretty good. It just looks fantastic, like that again. And there's a little bit of alcohol legs on the sides of the glass, just a very, very small. It's 8%, but yeah, it's there. So yeah. Anyway, it kind of plays the role of a strong ale. So let's get a nose. Everything they said. Oh my God, it is intense oakiness. Not like, like a spirit. It's definitely oak. It has a big vanilla and oak character. But there is such a beautiful, like, they say Christmas pudding. I would say almost like a fruit cake. Like a sticky toffee pudding would be another one. A lot of caramelized sugars. I'm talking coffee, caramel, molasses. Just because it's English review, treacle, little treacle in here. But just huge dark fruits. Like, to me, this is like dried apricot. There's prune, maybe plum, a little bit of raisins. Figs for sure. Yeah, just a ton of dark fruit. It's like dark fruit that is just like, if you had a sticky toffee pudding and put a bunch of dark fruit in there, just made it something completely different. I don't know. There might be sticky toffee pudding with fruit. I don't recall having like a ton of different like English desserts. But yeah, we'll just say like a fruitcake. Okay, we'll just say a fruitcake. But honestly, it just smells awesome. There is a little bit of a booze character to this one, 8%. You don't hear me say that too often, but you know, this is a classic beer. I just feel like the classic styles, if they're big ABV, you usually taste them. Breweries have done a great job over the past 5 to 10 years hiding ABVs. But I like that boozy character in this nose because it accentuates everything else I'm smelling. This does smell like a rich, decadent, kind of boozy big beer, and it's only 8%. This smells absolutely fan-fucking-tastic. Let's get into it. Cheers, everyone. That is so fucking good, dude. Wow. I was so bummed out because I wanted to review this a couple years back and I just could not find this beer. I just could not. I went to like 4 or 5 different places in the West New York area and I was like, where the hell is it? I don't know. I just didn't see it. And then just randomly, I'm in East Aurora and there it is on the shelf and it's a new release. I'm like, what the hell? I'm so happy. I got to buy another bottle or 2 of this and throw it in my cellar. No, I don't, Joe. You don't drink down your cellar, but I feel like I should. Mine's like higher side of medium, lower side of full. It has a nice, robust thickness to it, but it's not overly, it's not like, it's a little bit syrupy on the palate, but it's not too big. It's perfect for 8%. And for, again, a beer that I want to sit down, I'm going to sip on this over the next couple hours. It's not going to be something I, take to the dome piece like a 8% double IPA or something. I'm going to sip and savor this one. So I like the slightly bigger body. It's not too syrupy or too big. The mouthfeel is kind of different. It has this slight effervescent kind of feel to it. Kind of reminds me of like I've mentioned this mostly with like Belgian Wit beers or like Belgian pales, where they do a great job of being effervescent while still at the same time being smooth and creamy on the palate. That's kind of what's happening here. This has like a mild to moderate carbonation, probably more approaching moderate, but it has like a slight softness on the palate. Like a little minerality too. And then on top of that, it's smooth and it's creamy. It's just like the best of both worlds. So the mouthfeels, the body's really nice. The mouthfeel is spectacular. The taste is exactly what the nose was kicking out, like to a T. It's sticky toffee pudding. It's fruitcake. There's a lot of complex dark fruits here. Like I said, you could say dried apricots, dried like stone fruits, but then on the other side of it, it's like raisins, figs, dates, prunes, plums. It has everything encompassed into one. There's a nice like the deep kind of breadiness to this one, but it's like a toasted, I like to say toasted brown bread, but there's something like almost a rye bread or like a rustic kind of like marbled bread. It's not straight dark brown bread. It's a little bit more complex than that. But then blanketing that fruity goodness and the breadiness is this big character to me of caramelized sugars. It's caramel, it's toffee, it's the treacle, it's the molasses. There's just a lot of different sweet confectionery flavors going on. But at the same time, this is somewhat reserved in the sweetness. Like I'm talking about fruitcake and sticky toffee pudding and a bunch of caramelized sugars, but it's rich, it's decadent, but it's not cloying, it's not sweet, it's not too much. It's a fucking joy to drink this beer. It is an absolute pure joy to drink this beer. Halfway through second half of the palate is where that oak hits. And to me, again, it's not, it's just straight on oak. It's like oak and vanilla, both of them combined. And to me, it's kicking out this nice moderate kind of oak tannin dryness, and then this vanilla accentuating the rest of the flavors, maybe bumping up the sweetness a bit, but again, it never reaches the point of being cloying. Finishes with a slight earthy kind of mild bitterness. This is semi to full-on dry, more approaching full-on dry. Really, the dryness helps this beer, again, stop it from being cloying and too much. This is still a sipper, still a beer that I'm not just going to drink down, even though, as you can see, I'm drinking a lot of it in this review. It's not one that I would just sit here and session or anything. It's 8%. But the flavors and level of complexity in this beer are outstanding. And it's kind of right in line with what I remember this beer being. And now drinking this, I like this better than their organic chocolate stout for sure. That beer, don't get me wrong, Sam Smith's organic chocolate stout, you want just pure on a chocolate stout with tons of chocolate flavor, I think it's fantastic. This, however, is more my wheelhouse. This is, you know, reaching like English barley wine, close to it, English old ale, English strong ale, kind of all in the same realm where it's just like, you know, a bigger ABV, more malt character. But again, this is not cloying, and that's a beer like this, you could sometimes, you know, trick yourself into thinking, oh, is that a little bit too much? It is not. Nice warming in the chest as it goes down. 8%, don't really taste it on the palate, but definitely a warming sensation, which I think helps out for me personally because it makes it a little bit more, it makes me slow down with this one too, because it's like each sip, it's like, ooh, my chest is a little bit toasty. This is great. It's a great fucking beer. I am so disappointed that I haven't been able to drink this one in many years, but I'll tell you right now, I'm happy I grabbed this one. Yeah, I don't know where I am even. By now, I'm usually formulating a rating to some degree in my brain. I don't even know where I am right now with the rating. Like, again, ratings don't really matter. I always like to rate my beers out of 5. And let me just take one more sip and just make sure that whatever I give this, I stand by it. It's so good. It is so, it's kind of a mind fuck because it almost, I don't know how to say this. I can tell this is a bigger beer. I can tell it's 8%. All the flavors indicate that. At the same time, I just want to crush this. I do. It's drinkable. It's very drinkable, even with the warming in the chest, even with the big flavors. It's super complex. I just want to just sit here and just crush this beer, and I know I can. I got to take my time. And I already reviewed a beer earlier today. It was 3.8%, so I'm all right. But at the same time, and that was a 5 out of 5 beer. I don't know when I'm going to post that. It's going to be after this, but a 5 out of 5 beer's coming. First in 2025. Anyway, I'm just super happy this is back in my life. Can we just end it there? Yorkshire Stingo. Oh, that's the other thing I wanted to ask. Is this like a yearly release? Is this a rotating release? Is this a year-round release? Any of my UK friends, anybody in the US that knows, let me know. Because on Untappd, they had a bunch of different check-ins for years, but they don't like state on here that this is a specific, like it doesn't say the 2024 vintage or anything like that. It just, you know, it just kind of talks about it a little bit. So, yeah, I want to know if anybody out there, you know, really, for the most part, knows if the, you know, the availability of this one. I would love it. So anyway, Yorkshire Stingo, this is the 2024 release, I guess. I'm not really sure. We'll see. I'm going to give this a low 4.75 and go 4.7. Yeah, no, 4.7 all day long. And if you're somebody who likes, you know, beers like this, you know, kind of like mini, you know, barrel-aged barley wines, old ales, even American strong ales, give this one a go. Difference between this, like American strong ale, obviously the bitterness isn't there, the hop character as a whole. This is more malt driven, not as bitter. So if you're a malt fiend like myself, you would definitely enjoy this one. But for me, this is without question a fantastic beer, and it's a 4.7 out of 5 all day long. Sons. All right, price point availability. I paid $7.99 for that bottle. I'm pretty sure this is 550 milliliters. So so this is actually 18.6 fluid ounces. So this is bigger than your typical 16.9 500 milliliter bottle for $7.99. Yes, 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 all day long. Like that's insane. Like $8 for that? That's like 50 cents. That's less than 50 cents an ounce for something I gave 4.7. It's insane, the value on this one. It's absolutely insane. And then availability, like I said, I have absolutely zero ideas outside of that. I used to see this. I don't really see it anymore. Picked it up at Aurora Brew Works in East Aurora, New York, back in, I think it was like early September, late August, early September of 2024. Haven't seen it since. My UK beer tubing friends, viewers of the channel, how is this beer received in the UK? Do most people enjoy this one? Because I know a lot, like Paul over at PA Brew News, good friend of mine, fellow beer tuber, I know he loves this beer. Anybody who likes old traditional English beers here in the US seems to really like Sam Smith's, and especially this beer. So I don't know, is it the case like there's some English beers make it over here and then the English guys are just like, no, we don't really ever see that. Or something like Foster's in Australia, and then Sammy over at Short Stout Beer Reviews, he'll be like, no, we don't even see that here. We barely ever see that beer. So I'd be curious to know if this is something that gets in the UK. This does remind me to some degree, they're different beers, don't get me wrong, but like kind of in the same vein, Fuller's Vintage Ale, which we don't see here anymore. We don't even get, I have not seen Fuller's London Porter in 5 years. I haven't seen it. Only thing I ever see is the, do I ever even see Fuller's? I don't know. But the Vintage Ale is kind of akin to this one in my opinion. I know that's like different each year and whatnot, but like, just like same vibes, right? Same vibes, not same beer, same vibes. So yeah, again, another longer review. It's the Beer Patrol. Welcome to my channel. But yeah, if you've had this before, post in the comment section. I want to hear feedback. I don't care if you're from the UK, the US, wherever in the world. If you've had this beer before, you have some kind of experience about it, let me know. This is hitting me in the feels more than I used to enjoy this one. Like I'd probably give this one like a high 4.25, low 4.5 most years. This year's a 4.7 because I probably haven't had it so long, I forget how good it is. And it's, it's one of those things where, you have, like, since I haven't had this in like probably 6 or 7 years, come back to it, it like kind of surprises me, but like, I'm so happy. I guess this might not be a 4.7 for everybody, is what I'm saying. Anyway, like I said, 8%, warming the chest, going down, not cloying, rich, decadent, sweet, sipper for sure, but still somewhat drinkable, which is just insane. So I'm going to shut this one down. Appreciate everybody stopping by for another beer review here on the Beer Patrol. Check back tomorrow for another All Imperial Beer Theme Month review. And until then, cheers.